What if the financial playbook you've been handed your entire life, go to school, get a good job, save money, isn't the path to wealth, but a trap designed to keep you running in place? What if the very advice meant to create security is actually the anchor holding you back? For millions of people, this isn't a what if. They spend 40 years of their lives following these rules, trading their most valuable resource, time, for a paycheck that just barely covers the bills. They're stuck on a hamster wheel, a cycle of working to pay bills, which forces them to keep working. It has a name, the rat race. But there's a different path, a set of financial principles that the wealthy have used for generations to build real fortunes. This isn't about working harder, it's about a fundamental shift in how you think about money. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the international bestseller Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has spent his life decoding this playbook. He famously says the rich don't work for money, they have their money work for them. And that one idea is a lesson our school system often overlooks. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the financial myths you've been told and reveal Robert Kiyosaki's core principles for escaping the rat race for good. Stay with us, because what you're about to hear could change your financial destiny forever. The modern playbook for success is built on a simple promise: security. Go to school, get the grades, land a safe job with good benefits, and you're set. This is the path of Kiyosaki's Poor Dad, a man who was highly educated and a top government official, but who struggled with money his entire life. This path seems logical and safe, but Kiyosaki argues it's the most dangerous financial path you can take. Why? Because it makes you totally dependent on a paycheck. When a job is your only source of income, you're in a position of weakness. You trade your time and your skills for a fixed salary. Your boss controls your earnings, the company controls your life, the economy controls your job security. This is the engine of the rat race, a never-ending loop of working for money just to pay the bills. And this cycle is powered by one thing: fear. The fear of missing a mortgage payment, the fear of a layoff, the fear of what others might think. This is the fear that stops people from taking calculated risks and ever achieving real financial freedom.
Kiyosaki points out that the rich are playing a completely different game. Their goal isn't a bigger salary, it's financial independence. They understand that as long as you rely on that next paycheck, you're always just one emergency away from disaster. The promise of job security is an illusion. The real goal for anyone who wants to build lasting wealth is to stop working for money and start having money work for you. And that requires a profound mental shift, a new type of education you can't get in a classroom. It requires what Kiyosaki calls financial literacy. Why is it that so many smart, highly educated people are so bad with money? Why do you hear stories about lottery winners and pro athletes ending up broke just a few years after earning millions? The answer, according to Kiyosaki, is a shocking lack of financial education. Our school system is great at teaching us how to be employees, but it doesn't teach us how to be owners. It trains us to earn money, but not how to manage it or make it grow. For Kiyosaki, financial literacy is the single most important skill for building wealth. So what is this financial education? It's not about complicated formulas. It starts with a few simple but powerful core concepts. The most revolutionary of these is the difference between an asset and a liability. His definition is brutally simple. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. Think about that for a second. By that definition, is your family home an asset? Conventional wisdom says yes. But Kiyosaki argues that for most people, their house is their biggest liability. It takes money out of your pocket every single month in the form of a mortgage, taxes, insurance, and repairs. Same thing with your car. It's a liability that constantly drains cash. The poor and middle class spend their lives buying liabilities they think are assets. The rich, on the other hand, spend their lives acquiring true assets. These are things that generate income,
independent of their time. Examples of assets include rental properties that produce positive cash flow each month, dividend-paying stocks that send you checks just for owning a piece of the company, a business that you own, but that runs on a system without you, intellectual property like a book or a patent that generates royalties. This fundamental insight is the cornerstone of his entire philosophy. The strategy of the rich is simple. Focus all your energy and capital on buying assets. Then, use the income from those assets to buy even more assets. It creates a powerful, self-perpetuating cycle of wealth. Your money is working for you 24/7, even while you sleep.
To make this idea even clearer, Kiyosaki developed what he calls the cash flow quadrant. It's a simple diagram that shows the 4 ways people earn money. Understanding where you are on this blueprint is the first step to designing your path to freedom. The quadrant is split into a left side and a right side. Kiyosaki argues the left side is a trap. Whether you're an E or an S, you're still trading time for money. It's active income. You are the engine. If you stop, the money stops. On top of that, people on this side of the quadrant often face the highest tax rates. The secret, according to Kiyosaki, is to move from the left side of the quadrant to the right. This doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow. The journey can be gradual. You can be an employee and an investor at the same time, an E and an I. You can use your steady paycheck to start acquiring small assets. Maybe it's one dividend stock or saving for the down payment on a small rental property. The key is to start building that asset column, no matter how small, and begin your journey to the right side of the quadrant, where true financial freedom is found. Think about your own life for a moment. Where do you primarily earn your income right now? Are you in the E, S, B, or I quadrant? And more importantly, where do you want to be in 5 years? Let me know your current quadrant and your goal quadrant in the comments below. It's powerful to declare your intention. Here is where Robert Kiyosaki completely shatters conventional financial wisdom. Most experts will tell you all debt is bad. They preach about cutting up credit cards and living a debt-free life. Kiyosaki calls this poor person thinking. He argues there are 2 kinds of debt, bad debt and good debt, and understanding the difference is like being handed a key to unlock incredible wealth. Bad debt takes money out of your pocket every month to make the banks richer. It's a weight that holds you down in the rat race, and it should be eliminated as quickly as possible. Good debt, on the other hand, is the secret weapon of the rich. Good debt is when you borrow money to acquire an asset that generates cash flow. It's about using other people's money, OPM, specifically the bank's money, to make yourself richer.
Here's the classic example: real estate. Let's say you find a rental property for $200,000. You don't use your own money. Instead, you put down 20%, $40,000, and get a loan from the bank for the other $160,000. That loan is debt. But if you've done your homework, the rent you collect from your tenant covers the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and all other expenses, and still leaves you with a profit each month. Let's break that down. The tenant is paying off your debt for you. You used good debt to buy a cash-flowing asset. The asset puts money in your pocket, and someone else is paying down the loan. This is financial leverage. This is how the rich build wealth at an exponential rate. They aren't afraid of debt. They have mastered it. Kiyosaki has famously built his own fortune using this exact principle of leverage.
If this playbook is so simple, why isn't everyone wealthy? Kiyosaki says it's because of a few internal roadblocks that stop people cold. The biggest one is fear, specifically the fear of losing money. When the market dips, most people panic and sell, locking in their losses. But the rich see it as a sale, an opportunity to buy great assets at a discount. Kiyosaki teaches that failure is a part of success. Every wealthy person has lost money. The difference is they learn from it instead of letting fear paralyze them. They play to win, the poor play not to lose. The second obstacle is cynicism. That's the little voice in your head that says, that sounds too good to be true. Cynics are masters at finding reasons why things won't work. Winners analyze and figure out how to make them work. Cynicism blinds you to the opportunities right in front of you. Overcoming it means opening your mind, getting educated, and finding people who have already done what you want to do. The third obstacle is laziness. But this isn't about sitting on the couch. Kiyosaki defines it as being too busy to manage your financial life. It's the excuse of, I don't have time to learn about investing. The rich make their financial education a priority. They work to learn, not just to earn. They might take a sales job not for the pay, but to master the skill of selling. They take a long-term view. You have to overcome the habit of choosing short-term comfort over long-term freedom. The principles Robert Kiyosaki shares aren't really secrets. They've been hidden in plain sight, used by the wealthy for centuries while the rest of us were taught to follow a different rulebook.
Let's recap this masterclass. First, reject the lie that a job equals security. The goal isn't a paycheck, it's freedom. Second, commit to your financial education. It starts with a simple, powerful difference between an asset and a liability. Your mission is to acquire cash-flowing assets. Third, know your place in the cash flow quadrant and begin your journey to the right side, the B and I quadrants. Fourth, learn to use good debt as a powerful lever to accelerate your wealth. And finally, you have to conquer the internal enemies of fear, cynicism, and laziness. This path isn't easy. It takes courage and a willingness to think differently from the crowd. It requires you to be a lifelong student of money, but the reward is the greatest prize there is, a life of choice where your time is your own and your money is working tirelessly to build a legacy of real, lasting wealth. The choice, as always, is yours. If this video has opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about money, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. We release content like this every week to help you on your journey to financial freedom. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. The best way to reinforce what you've learned is to discuss it. Thank you for watching, and now go build your asset column.